Welcome into the Commanders Report. I am your host, Jack Sperry, and we're going to start off yet another week of Commanders draft coverage right here on the show with an updated list of Commanders team needs heading into the 2025 NFL Draft. We'll be talking about all the positions that the Commanders need to address in the NFL Draft this year. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button because we are only 10 days away from the start of the 2025 NFL Draft. So please, guys, click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Help us get to 40,000 subscribers. We are now around 1,000 subscribers away from joining the 40K club here at Chat Sports. So help us get there right now. Click that subscribe button because we got extensive coverage all throughout draft week coming up. So let's start here with the tiers that I'm going to be breaking these team needs down into today. A tier 1 draft need, in my opinion, is something that I think you need a starter in day one. So you're going to really prioritize getting those positions early on in the NFL draft so you can fill those positions with players that can play right away. Then in tier 2 are guys that, you would like to upgrade, at that position. Maybe you don't absolutely need to replace the person that you currently have at that position, but you would like to get an upgrade if you can. And then tier 3 is more depth and developmental pieces. Maybe you're good at that position for now, but you got free agents coming up. You got guys that are getting older, and you need to kind of plan for the future at those given positions. So we'll start with my tier 1 needs, the things that I think the Commanders absolutely need to fill in this year's NFL Draft. I think they need to get a pass rushing specialist at edge rusher, and I think they need to get a starting strong safety to replace Jeremy Chinn. Let's break these down one at a time here, starting with the edge rushers, because this offseason, obviously, you lose Dante Fowler Jr., who got you 10.5 sacks as your designated pass rusher in this unit last year. You bring back Cleveland Ferrell. Of course, you still have Dorrance Armstrong, and you bring in Dietrich Wise. I think all of those guys are decent, fine players that can help defend the run, do all these different things, but they're not true pass rushers that one-on-one against tackles are consistently going to win and get you, sack production the way Dante Fowler Jr. did in that role in this defense last year. So for me, I want to get somebody that really specializes in attacking the passer, not somebody like Shamar Stewart or Michael Williams, for example, that specializes in stopping the run. I want somebody that's going to be able to get after quarterbacks. So guys like Mike Green and James Pierce Jr., if those two guys fall in the NFL Draft this year, by the way, all the numbers that you see on screen here, guys, is where these players rank on the consensus big board as it currently stands here today. Somebody like Jalen Walker, who's currently listed as an off-ball linebacker, I think could convert to be more of a designated pass rusher in this scheme here in Washington. Donovan Ezeraku out of Boston College led college football last year with 16.5 sacks. So if you need somebody to get after the quarterback, I think he's certainly somebody to keep your eye on at the end of round 1. But then if you want to go into the middle rounds, you got guys like Princely Omanmielen, you got Braden Swinson, Oluwafemi Oladejo from UCLA is a guy that Washington has really shown a lot of interest in. He's expected to go sometime on day 2. Josiah Stewart out of Michigan is a great pass rushing specialist. David Walker out of Central Arkansas is somebody I've talked about on this show before. I think he could be a sleeper in this draft. And Q Robinson from Alabama, super explosive pass rush specialist out of Alabama, is also somebody you can consider on day 3. And then the other position that I think you do need to address here, guys, is safety. Because you lose Jeremy Chinn, and you do bring in Will Harris, but Harris honestly has not been a great player throughout his NFL career, and I think he's more of a nickel dime kind of chess piece that can move around the defense. He's not really a true starting strong safety in my opinion, so if you can get that guy to be this other starting safety alongside Quan Martin in this defense, I say you absolutely do that. Now, Malachi Starks is somebody that plays more in the slot and free safety, deep safety. That's kind of more his specialty, but he is somebody to keep in mind because he can play in the box if you absolutely need him to. Nicky Manwari has pretty much an identical physical profile to Jeremy Chinn, which is why the Commanders may be interested in him, but I think that he needs a lot of work before he's a true box safety, the same way that Jeremy Chinn was here in Washington. Xavier Watts out of Notre Dame would actually be an excellent fit, in my opinion. Then Kevin Winston Jr., the same out of Penn State. Both of those guys could be got potentially on day 2. Lathan Ransom is somebody that's kind of physically unimpressive, kind of, but he's a reliable player national champion, that sort of thing. I really like Jonas Sanker out of Virginia, very versatile player and a great run defender. Jalen Reed out of Penn State is another Penn State safety that I like in this class. And then Sebastian Castro is kind of like Ransom, where he's not as good of an athlete, but he's very reliable on the field. So if you need somebody that can play right away, I think I would trust Castro on an NFL field. So what say you guys? Let me know down there in the comments section. What is Washington's biggest need to address in the 2025 NFL Draft? Let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. In just a second here, I'm going to be telling you about our sponsor today at Game Time. So for today's pinned comment, go down there in the comments section, the pinned comments at the top of the comment section, and let me know what you think Washington's biggest team need is heading into the draft. And with that, let's have a word from our sponsor here at Game Time. And the NBA playoffs are just getting started. And if you want to experience the energy and the stakes of playoff basketball, you can get great seats at guaranteed low prices with our friends at Game Time today. Game Time makes getting tickets faster and easier, even for hard-to-get playoff seats. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down closer it gets to tip-off, and with killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee on any ticket to any event you buy, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying NBA playoff tickets. The New York Knicks have locked up their spot in the NBA playoffs this year, and even though the Washington Wizards stink, you can go watch the Knickerbockers play at historic Madison Square Garden in New York City and experience the stakes and the energy of playoff basketball. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time today. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS. It's one word, all caps, CHATSPORTS. It's right down there in the bottom right of your screen right now for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS. It's one word, all caps, CHATSPORTS at CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. So for me, the only tier 2 need, which is like, we would like to upgrade it if we can, but it's not the biggest deal in the world if we don't address it, is offensive line. Because you do make that big trade to make this unit better in Laremy Tunsil during NFL free agency. You're expected to give Brandon Coleman and Andrew Wiley a chance to compete for the starting right tackle job. Whoever loses that job presumably is going to be playing in the stead of Sam Cosmi as he continues to get better from that torn ACL he suffered at the end of last year. Tyler Biadasz is definitely locked in as this team's starting center, but Nick Allegretti, is somebody that's been more of a replacement level starter type all throughout his NFL career, and I think Washington could potentially look to find a way to upgrade that left guard spot with somebody in the NFL draft this year, potentially even early on if they can get the right player in round 1 even to protect Jaden Daniels for the foreseeable future, because obviously that is priority number 1. You guys can take a look here at some of the offensive linemen that we can look at for this position. I really think, guys, when it comes to the offensive line, there's going to be some players in round 1 that could be coming out as tackles that could be converted to guard if you really want to get that going. Somebody like a Kelvin Banks Jr. out of Texas, somebody with shorter arms, might fall down the draft board because of that. I think he could be a really, really good guard. If he's there at number 29, I wouldn't mind it at all. If the Washington Commanders pulled the trigger on a guy like Kelvin Banks Jr., then there's another guy that could potentially be there at number 29 in Gray Zabel out of North Dakota State. He was a standout at the Senior Bowl in Mobile, Alabama for the Senior Bowl this year, and he played tackle, guard, and center and excelled at all 3 spots, especially on the interior of the offensive line. So you could plug Gray Zabel in as your starting left guard right away as well. There's also some really good guard prospects in this year's class that are expected to go sometime late round 1 or in round 2. Tyler Booker out of Bama, Donovan Jackson out of Ohio State, Ozzy Trapilo out of Boston College is seen as more of a tackle guy, but he could certainly kick into guard if you need him to. Jonah Savanaia out of Arizona. Wyatt Milam is somebody the Commanders have really put a lot of interest in at the tackle position that could move over to guard. In fact, I think that he should. And then Tate Rutledge, Anthony Belton, and then Jackson Slater is somebody on day 3 to keep your eye on out of Sacramento State. I think that he's got excellent tape, and he really held his own at the Senior Bowl this year. So make sure you guys click that thumbs up icon if you haven't already. If you want another draft video tomorrow, we'll get you guys some more draft content here on the Commanders Report tomorrow. If you click that thumbs up icon and help us get to 500 likes on today's show. So now tier 3 needs. These are the things that, you don't necessarily need them, but I think that you could add some depth. You could add some developmental talent here. Wide receiver, cornerback, inside linebacker, and running back are the 4 kind of positions that I would expect this team to use mid and late round draft picks on this year. We'll start with wide receiver because you got your number 1 guy in Terry McLaurin. Of course, it's looking like he's going to get a multi-year contract extension this year. Deebo Samuel, you traded for him as kind of your chess piece, Swiss Army knife, whatever you want to call him, offensive weapon. Then outside of him, you got Noah Brown, who's okay. Showed some good chemistry with Jaden Daniels at times last year, but he's coming off an injury. Then Luke McCaffrey, who, in my opinion, did some good things on special teams, but still left a lot to be desired in terms of his ability to be a true wide receiver. And honestly, I didn't love his tape all that much as a receiver coming out of Rice. So I would love for the Washington Commanders to get another weapon for Jaden Daniels to grow with throughout their careers when they're on their rookie contracts, and hopefully somebody that might even be able to eventually take over the number 1 wide receiver spot in the future whenever Terry McLaurin ends up moving on from this football team. And I would love for them to get a route running type of wide receiver that opposing defenses are going to have to respect. All right. Right now, I don't think Noah Brown, Deebo Samuel, or Luke McCaffrey are the types of route runners that necessarily inspire fear in opposing defenses. I think that opposing defenses would actually be okay, putting man coverage on those receivers. But if you add another route running type of receiver alongside Terry McLaurin here, I think that's something that could really, really help out this offensive roster, force teams to play a little bit more zone coverage. Someone like Emeka Egbuka in round 1, I think would be an excellent addition to this football team as a number 2 receiver. Luther Burden III out of Missouri. He's got some personality and behavior type of stuff, character stuff that's popped up on his profile. So maybe he falls into the lap of the Commanders in round 2. Jaden Higgins from Iowa State. Watch out for him to be a potential round 1 pick this year, actually. Really like his film. Jalen Knoll, also out of Iowa State. He's smaller than Higgins, but also very explosive and a really good route runner. Jalen Royals is going to be more of a slot type of weapon, but really good route runner with strong hands. Kyle Williams, keep your eye on him to the Commanders because he reminds me a lot of Deontay Johnson, a great route runner, fantastic separator, great after the catch, and he's actually pretty darn good separating down the field as well. Tez Johnson out of Oregon. The Commanders have met with Xavier Restrepo for a private workout, so keep your eye on Restrepo on early day 3. Kobe Hudson's one of my favorite true route runners in this entire class. You can get him as one of my favorite sleepers. He's currently ranked 198th on the consensus big board. Then Jimmy Horn Jr., a really good slot receiver out of Colorado, you can probably get in round 7 if you really want. So here's the depth chart for the cornerbacks here, moving on to the cornerback position. This is another position where technically you have your starters in place. Marshawn Lattimore, Jonathan Jones on a short-term deal, and then Mike Samerstill either playing in the slot, or who knows, Jones can also play in the slot. It'll be interesting to see how they divvy up that work, but they could certainly add somebody here. If Lattimore doesn't play up to snuff this year, if Jones doesn't play up to snuff this year, it'd be nice to have another good corner in this room to develop alongside the people that are already inside this position here on the roster. So guys like Jahdae Barron, if he ends up falling to the Commanders, I think would be somebody that the Commanders would consider at number 29. Maxwell Harrison is visiting the Washington Commanders this week. He's currently ranked number 36 on the consensus big board. Siobhan Revel Jr., really like his tape and his measurables, but he's coming off an ACL tear and he didn't play really at all this last year. So he's very much a projection. I really like Trey Amos out of Ole Miss, really clean type of player, great technique, but he's not the best in terms of his physical attributes. Azarie Thomas, super slow, 4.6 as a corner is what he ran at his pro day, which is just absolute doo-doo garbage, baby, for especially a press man corner. So honestly, I wouldn't love getting him, especially around the 44th spot where he's at on the consensus big board. Benjamin Morrison, I think, would be a great fit with how much man coverage he ran at Notre Dame. Darian Porter, I think, would be a really good developmental piece out of Iowa State. Crazy long arms, runs in the 4.3s at greats, and has some fantastic size as well. And then Quincy Riley, Zoff Frazier, and Noel Williams are some kind of later round prospects that are more developmental types, but I think are good fits for what the Washington Commanders are looking for at this position. Then at linebacker, I think you're probably looking for somebody to maybe be the heir apparent to Bobby Wagner. Obviously, Frankie Louvu is kind of their defensive chess piece type of player that they like to blitz on, but also do a lot of the off-ball linebacker responsibilities with. I think Jordan McGee will step into more of a third down linebacker type of role as their third linebacker. But if you can add another person here to learn alongside Bobby Wagner here to maybe even become a future starter, I think that would be something that would really be beneficial for the Washington Commanders long term. Here are some day 3 inside linebacker targets here according to the consensus big board. Chris Paul Jr., a guy that I really like, a little undersized but a great football player. Expected to go 104. Danny Stutzman, he's terrible in coverage, but man, he is a thumper. Reminds me a lot of a Landon Roberts and honestly Bobby Wagner at this point in his career. Barrett Carter is almost like a safety type where, really athletic, kind of smaller linebacker, will linebacker type that can also maybe play a little bit of hybrid safety. Jeffrey Bassa out of Oregon, really athletic. He's going to have to develop a little bit in his first year, but I think he's a really good fit for what the Commanders are looking for this year. Kobe King out of Penn State, really good run defender. Same thing with Jack Kaiser out of Notre Dame, great leader too. Kaiser is, and then you got Cody Simon. And one of my favorite sleepers in this draft, Sean Dolak out of Buffalo. Some of the most fun film you're going to find from any linebacker in this class. Really good tackler, great physical skill set, and some great coverage skills, which I think will definitely intrigue the Washington Commanders. Then a final position here to talk about here on today's video is the running back position, because you got Brian Robinson Jr., you got Austin Eckler. Eckler might be heading into the final year of his career, and then there's some whispers of a trade for Brian Robinson Jr. right now, so there's a lot of whispers the Commanders could be looking at getting a running back in this year's NFL draft class. But right now, until they trade Brian Robinson Jr., I think that it only makes sense to get a guy on day 3 to eventually take the place of Austin Eckler in this rotation. So here are some day 3 running back targets that I really like for this football team. R.J. Harvey, I think, has a chance to be the steal at the position in this class. Fantastic long speed and acceleration. Vision's off the charts. His ability to make guys miss in space is awesome. Really love Harvey's film. Damian Martinez is more of a thumper. So if you end up trading Brian Robinson Jr., I think Martinez is a fantastic fit to replace him as kind of the thunder type of running back in this offense. Bashal Tutin is smaller, but he's explosive as all get out. Has a little bit of a fumble issue, but he could be a big-time player. Devin Neal doesn't have great physical attributes, not the fastest guy in the world, but he is a really good football player, knows how to use blocks, knows angles, knows all these different things to really maximize his physical skill set. Jaden Blue, super fast running back, kind of scat back out of Texas. Same thing with Trevor Etienne out of Georgia. I think a good couple sleeper type prospects. Jarquez Hunter out of Auburn, super explosive player. Kind of undersized, but love what he brings to the table. Then Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt is somebody that won the MVP at the Shrine Bowl this year here in Austin, Texas. He showed off some really good things, and I think he's getting slept on a little bit as well. So let me know, who's your guy down there in the comments section to finish up today's edition of the Commanders Report. Who do you really want the Washington Commanders to take this year? Is there a player, or is there multiple players that you really hope the Commanders take this year? If so, let me know who those players are down there in the comments section, and I will catch you guys tomorrow, guys. Click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Again, if you want another draft video tomorrow, make sure you click that thumbs up icon. I greatly appreciate you guys stopping by our channel this afternoon. Until next time, guys, hail to the Commanders.